Welcome to Make Shit Happen. My guest today is Washington Ho. Washington, thank you so much for coming over here, making the time, and coming over here and embracing us with your presence, man. Thank you so much. You are the famous guy from Washington Ho show on HBO Max. Tell us a little bit about you.
I am born and raised in Houston, Texas. I, identify with American culture. I'm named after the greatest leader the world's ever known. And thank you very much for having me today and showing me your office. Your staff's been wonderful, and what a great day to open up.
Hey, so let me ask you a question. How did you get your name Washington Ho? Is that your real name, or is that a name that you came up with, or what is that?
My family is all about legacy, and legacy means living up to a name. So when my father and family came over here, me being the oldest grandchild, they wanted to name me after the greatest leader so that one day I could give back to the country that they left and never forget where I came from. So I was born with it. That's my real name. And, when you wake up every day and you're named after George Washington, you only have one choice, is to be number one.
All right. So that's a good answer. So I'm sure people ask you this all the time. I'm sure you get asked that. Washington, tell me, the way I got to know you, we went to the same barber, Danny Trong.
Danny Trong.
Danny Trong. And, probably, you probably known him as long as I have. You were going over there. You started going over there when you were a little kid.
Yes.
At
the time, in my neighborhood on the north side of town, it was $8 to get a clipper or fade. And I saw a sign one day on Hillcroft, $2.99 haircuts. I go in there, get a haircut by Danny. Danny's an older Vietnamese guy. And, after probably about a year or two, he's like, "Do you have a sister?" And I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Have you introduced me to your sister? I'll take you to the Roxy." And I go, "Oh, okay, I'll bring her." So I love clubbing, I love partying, and that's always been, a really important thing in our lives as a family and as a whole family, is that we work hard so we can have fun together and spend time together as a family, because a lot of people, they work a lot and they forget to play ping pong or enjoy what's right there in front of them, and time just flies by. So
yeah, well, that's good. Having fun as a family is is always good. Especially just having fun in life, man. Because life cannot all be about working or trying to make something. It's about having fun, having a good time, stuff like that. So tell me, you grew up in Houston. You said on the northwest side,
yeah.
right? And then you're going to Hillcroft getting this haircut, but how did this the show came, House of Ho, on HBO Max? How did that come about?
Everything starts with vision. So either the vision can pass you by and you're born with it and you see it and you have to grab it. And it started as a child. At 3-4 years old, I always liked to be the front and center of attention. And so due to that fact, I, ran for president the first time in 8th grade at Second Baptist, and everyone thought I was crazy. I didn't know anybody, but just wanting to be in front of the camera. But the message I wanted to share brought me there, which is to always give hope. And my grandfather and my father and mother founded the first Vietnamese Catholic church in Houston, La Vang Church, which is the largest. And that's what my dad did that for, to give people hope. Along the journey, my dad started, pumping gas, and, 20 years later founded the first American chartered bank by a Vietnamese refugee. And that's always given me hope, our community hope, and that's how the show happened. When you get hope in your heart, all of a sudden your brain manifests and your mental and emotional state gets into your, what I call the mental Rolodex. And I explored my relationships, and I said, "Hey, what do you think about, trying to empower, the Houstonians that believe that they can't make it to Hollywood?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, if I can make it, I've never been there. I think anyone's gonna wake up and say, if he can make it, I can make it. So
Yeah.
that's why I did it.
Yeah. You know what? That's funny. I posted this morning on Instagram. I said, if I can do it, you can do it.
Oh,
You know?
really?
Yeah. You know.
I didn't know that.
And so yeah, that's I mean that's always a good message, right? To inspire people. If I can do it, you can do it. There's no reason. So you yeah, I've heard about your dad has become like a big entrepreneur. Starting from nothing. Being a refugee, coming over here, building big business or whatever.
I want to, excuse me, I didn't want to be rude, but, starting from nothing. My dad always says, we never start from nothing. There's always something we have, something that's given to us, something that radiates through our frequencies that we can use. So a lot of times people say we start from nothing. No, we start from the same place. And if you want to continue on the journey, follow the right leaders. That's where I feel like a lot of people have people that love them, people that care about them, and make sure you embrace those people. That's what the show's about, embracing the ones that love you and you love along your journey.
Very well said. Your dad is a smart guy. So your dad starts over here, become this entrepreneur, and you said you wanted to be the front and center attention, and you wanted to go to Hollywood. How did you? I mean, people think about it, and I'm sure they are curious, just like I am. How did you get the show going? How did you get HBO to convince? Hey, you know what? There's something here, HBO, House of Ho.
Again, most of you who do know Washington know that planning is like not for me at least. There was a plan put in place for me a long time ago by God and my family, and I'm just walking along that path, and those moments grabbed me. So when I got married on October 25th, 2015, as me and my wife, Leslie Ho, who you see in the show, we're about to walk in to get introduced to the 500 people, I see one of my favorite all-time celebrity actors while I'm walking in, Anthony Anderson. In 2015, there was a show called Blackish that came out that he produced. But there was also another show called FOB that was being produced. When that, The Hangover, I get it. Washington Ho likes to party, but FOB, I was like, that's a little too far in Hollywood. I said, but that's not up to the producers. That's up to someone to communicate correctly. I didn't want my kids to go through school being made fun of for profit. So the journey took me there. While I was walking into my wedding, I went up to Anthony Anderson. And what people would say is, I pulled a Washington. I grabbed him and I said, honey, hold on. Tell the wedding planner, hold on. We're not introduced. I go, yo, what's up, Anthony? It's me, Washington Ho, the Asian Malibu's most wanted. Jamie Kennedy's got nothing on me. I need you to help me. My wedding is Asian. It means it's very serious. I need everyone to calm down and relax and to realize that Washington Ho is off the market and he's being serious. He goes, what's your name? And I go, Washington Ho. And he goes, where's your wife, bro? And I pulled my wife over, and she goes, yes, I know. My husband's crazy. His real name is Washington Ho. He goes, all right, I'll be there. While he's walking to another one, I go, whoa, dude, you said you're coming in with me. I mean, I told people I got you. He goes, chill out, Ho. He goes, I got to go in the other room and talk to this seminar and inspire people on how to better their lives.
Mm-hmm.
We walk in, and I'm kind of like, oh, is he going to come in? Because there was a torrential rain on that day, and all the agents are like, oh, it's good luck. It's good luck. I'm like, shh. My wife thinks she has bad hair today. I got to cheer her up. He comes in, does a 15-minute thing, and everybody lights up. I mean, you've never seen so many Asians. It was like seeing Michael Jackson, come out of his, coffin or something. Everybody's like, oh, my God, it's so funny, and dancing with him. And one person like him that walks in your life and might be totally different from what everyone expects, you got to grab that person because those moments don't wait. And when he walked in, I was like, wow. And I didn't know CNN's Roland Martin would be there with him, who both have become good friends. He grew up in Pearland, and they filmed it. And so while the camera and action was there, I never won any auditions before that. I applied to USC Film School. My parents left me. I flew out there by myself. I used to be a busboy and a coffee shop guy at Dolce and Fredo, and saved up enough money to fly out there. It was like $900 to get there and back when I was 17. My parents said, I'm not going to that audition with you. And, you know, every kid had a parent with them, and I didn't. So, you know, you have to put the blood, sweat, and tears into it, but you got to grab the opportunities. Anthony Anderson, we find out he has the same exact birthday as me, August 15th. He reminds me every year. I don't know the guy. He's on my birthday. He sends me a Facebook message. Hey, How? So proud of you. But just remember what I taught you at the wedding. You are not the number one hoe anymore. Your wife is. And I'm like, what is this guy talking about? 2.5 years later, him and Chris Tucker run into my groomsmen at the Masters golf tournament. I'm holding my 2 kids. They're 3 and 1, and my back hurts, and I'm gaining weight. And I'm like, what am I going to do next? He shows up. He's like, what's up, ho? And my boy goes, you know, well, I'm not him. And he sees Chris Tucker. He's like, what the fuck? And he's like, yeah, you're not washing a hoe? And he's like, no, because, like, you know, people drink. He's like, tell him to call me. Tell him to call me. And I'm like, it's May. Why would I call him? I don't have nothing to sell. So have something to sell. Sell yourself. August 15th. At least this time I said happy birthday first. And the journey for me was that, hey, Anthony, I see Kim Kardashian. I mean, I don't see why there's not any Asian families out there that can tell the right story.
Uh-huh.
And I said, do you think I could try out, or how does this work? And he was like, well, he goes, you have a 1 in a billion chance, but if someone can make it, it's you. So my phone line's open for you anytime, because I see your passion, purpose, and the age of your family. It's relatable, but it's not going to happen. But at least if you try, I'll invest my time too. So,
And that's how it started.
yeah.
So let me ask you a question. It was the movie Crazy Rich Asian. Did you get inspired by that or no?
I didn't even know. But I started this before that, March 2017.
Okay.
Like Easter weekend when I flew out to LA by myself.
Uh-huh.
I went up to my father and I go, Dad, you know, I was like, I could sit here and manage all these salespeople, and, you know, I would feel like so bad for some boss to manage 30 salespeople. I said, I gotta take care of my kids. I go, the profitability is not equaling the quality of life for me. I said, there's got to be a better way to cut down my cost of acquisition. And I said, if anyone can market better than me, I don't know who that is, but I got to create a way where I could be outside of the office. And he's like, what's the potential? And I said, $250 for, I don't know, a legacy, to inspire my kids that we're in a great country where it doesn't matter where you come from or what color. But if you're 35 and you don't have a felony, you can be the president of America or run. So I ran and I went for it, and I have the great, great family support. My wife, who's been my best friend along the journey and supported me along the way. You know, my sister going through a lot, but supporting me along the way. And, you know, my father and mother for inspiring me, and my brother for running the family offices while I could take these type of risks.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, when our family, you know, when we can have fun and we can motivate the world, we're motivating ourselves. What we tell people is what you say is kind of what's inspiring to you. And, you know, they've always been there for me, and this was just a way for me to help, you know, start my sister and brother's legacy.
Let me ask you this. You know, your whole family is in this Washington, in the House of Hope, right? And I mean, you know, y'all are from Vietnam, Asian family, a little more conservative, you know, just like all Asian families are. How did you convince your family to be on?
You don't know? Danny didn't tell you my name back then and today. I'm the Asian persuasion. It's like you can't say no.
How
and
did
if you say no, I keep
mom
going.
And dad, hey, we got to put all our business right here.
You say, hey, guess what? The power of attorney went through. And they're like, what? They're like, shit, I didn't work for this cheap since I got to America. And I said, hey, but if you give me hope, and you know this many people would like, they watch me, you're giving them hope, and they're like, sure. There's no questions asked in my family if it's for the family. Mm-hmm. As long as it's for the family unit, it's okay, but we don't, and I
I
love.
know. I know there must have been a little struggle. I know you. I know you trying to.
No, there's zero struggle.
Really?
It's
So your family really
HBO,
just they just supported you. They said, "Hey, you know what? Fine, we'll all get on the
come
show."
on, they don't love me that much. They like
Of course, the fame, the money,
no
what legacy.
legacy, attention. We're hosts. We brand ourselves. I mean, we came here from 1975. We had the first business as a Vietnamese family, a restaurant in downtown Houston. They were blue laws back then, which meant that you couldn't open your business on the weekends. So we would just go up to businesses that were closed and said, "Hey, let me borrow your refrigerator." And then we would just start a restaurant on the patio, and it just become a party. So that's just how we do things. We see something, we see opportunity, and it doesn't cost anything.
So tell us what was you said your family came over here in 1975. I know people just heard that and they're probably like, oh, hold on,
Yeah.
repeat that one more time.
Right.
So your family was going to people.
So, for those of you who don't know, I apologize, but the Vietnam War was officially over on April 30th of 1975.
Mm-hmm.
My father, he trained in the Air Force in America in 1968 and 1971 to prepare. Our family, worked with the Americans, and that's why we're named Washington, Reagan, Roosevelt, Lincoln, Truman, McKinley, and Kennedy, and, America protected our family. Our family is the whole family. We come from legacy. And, my dad was an officer, over 5,000 Americans in the war. And, he was always grateful to God and the country for saving his family. So 3 days before the war was just over, our family knew, and America flew back all the hoes.
Mm-hmm.
But Mama Ho wasn't having it, with older son wanting to go find his love. So America flew them home, and my dad got off the plane and said, "I got to find love, my girlfriend, my wife." And that was my mom. And my mom came from one of the poorest villages in Vietnam. My dad was on the richest. So he went and found her. The communists and people were chasing him for 3 days, found my mom, and they escaped, and they ended up in a refugee camp in Fort Chaffee, Arkansas. So a lot of people didn't know. I didn't know. There was a refugee camp for Vietnamese in Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
They got sponsored in Kerrville, Texas. The lady that taught my mom English, her name's Judy. So that's why my sister's name is Judy. And, my dad's first job was pumping gas at an Exxon, and he loved it because he said, at least in America, whatever I made of myself, people would know it's because of me. It's not because of like daddy's money or whatever. So that was his chip on his shoulder.
Well, nice. So now your sister has a big part in the show. You have a big.
Okay, that was she did not. Yeah. There was tension there.
Okay.
Yeah, my sister. Yeah, she was not happy about this one.
And why?
My wife's not happy about this one. My mom. The females don't like this thing. Me and my dad love it because we love movies and we grew up like that. He named my brother Reagan because he loves country westerns. But the ladies didn't love it. It's definitely not normal. And now that I have opened the floodgates, Judy has embraced the journey. My wife's embraced the journey. And so it was difficult to get them there. But once you get them there, it's the same way your company grows. All the hoes follow, start scaling. Now every hoe wants to be on the show, which is fantastic. And I can't wait for y'all to, just... I don't know if there's
to see what's next.
Well, yeah, I don't see what's next, I guess.
Okay. Are you talking to HBO at least or something to see if we can do some next?
Yeah, we're in contact with them and trying to see, what can we do from, if there is a season 2, like what would that storyline be? And, there's been no announcements. In Hollywood, what I've learned is that until it goes on the screen, there's nothing actually.
There's nothing actually.
Because I've been doing this since I was 17, but people just think it's my first try.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's not my first try.
So basically, right now we're just going to cross our fingers and hope and pray.
Well, for me, I think the purpose and the passion was the family, to get 1 minute on screen was a win. That's all it was for us. We definitely did not do it for the money or the business part of it, their potential. We didn't do it. I didn't do it to be a reality star. I did it more to understand production crew, build relationships, and just go through the process. But I went through the process 50 million times. People don't know. So every time you get rejected, you got to get rejected by the bank 27 times until you get approved to understand what they need, what they want.
Mm-hmm.
So, right now for season 2, there's a lot going on in the world, and it's important that we don't touch certain parts, but we do want to take some risk and touch certain people to inspire them and give them hope. And I hope there is a season 2.
So Washington, do you have like a whole team working with you? I mean, is it? Are you the more driving engine kind of thing on this thing?
Fortunately, a lot of, there's been more team along the way.
Uh-huh.
I always say that, I was more fortunate. I didn't really start, like most of these great artists do in Hollywood. I was, lucky I had another job in a business to support my dreams. But yeah, there's a huge team, massive. I mean, I remember the first day when they were pulling up, I was like, I didn't know I don't know what this process is like.
You're talking about team from HBO.
Yeah, and I'm like, yo, Anthony, dude, there's like 18-wheelers pulling up in my house. Like, what is going on? I thought there was going to be a dude with a camera or two.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, it's HBO. They take their stuff seriously. Their brand equities, everything. So they use it. And they've invested a lot of capital.
And what about on your side? How many people are on your team? Like
I would say 0.
0.
It's just our family.
Okay.
Just like we've always done things.
And
know?
maybe your manager or
I didn't have. What happens is to create artwork, or if you're the artist, it's hard to produce something and be creative if someone's telling you what to do. Because the more people I hired to tell me what to do, the more I couldn't be myself and tell the story. So I said, who can I look to? So I saw Tyler Perry's career, and it really inspired me to focus on me, the narrative, my thesis of, opening up, any person's eyes and giving them hope. And, it's a tough journey, but
this is a major breakthrough. This is a major, blessing for you,
Yes.
getting you in the
Yes.
thing. And I hope there's season 2, season 3, season 4 and more, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at it and say, okay, hey, you know what, this was probably, an entryway for me. I mean, just like, in the past, we have seen reality stars, like the biggest one you can think about is the Kardashian family, right?
Right.
I mean,
They've done great.
that have done great, changed their life.
Fantastic.
Do you think about something like, okay, hey, you know what, I want to make sure that if I do get an opportunity for season 2, season 3, season 4, season 5, and I go national and mainstream, I want to be like the Tyler Perry kind of thing, make movies, or I want to do more businesses, through that. I mean,
What made me proud today is what we're doing today. Many companies and entrepreneurs, their background, being self-made, like Sammy over here, since I was in high school in the 90s, is that we don't have the marketing budget that these companies have. But to get to the airwaves on the podcast, I respect you. You invested a little square footage, some time. That's what I did. So I had started on my personal journey to get to Hollywood when Facebook started and Friendster. So I started branding myself that way, just to be myself. And I'm telling you, if there is a season 2, I can't wait to bring on more local Houstonian entrepreneurs that, we respect as a city. And I think it's those people that bring the energy capital of the world, Houston, Texas, to the map. The good old boys are the good old boys, and combined with the good young boys, we have what we have today. And that's what Houston first, we bring in the energy. Austin is great. Dallas is great. I went to school there. But Houston is where it's at, and it's about time people know. So.
Yeah, for sure. You bring in a subject that always kind of touchy to me. Like, when people from outside Houston, outside Texas, they think about Texas, they think about Dallas first.
Yeah.
I was in, matter of fact, I was at STK Steakhouse a couple of months ago, and I guess the manager was over there talking to me, and she was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna open up. Where y'all from? Oh, from Texas. Oh, we can open up one in Dallas." And I'm like, "Well, why Dallas?" They're like, "Well, because Texas, Dallas," and I'm like, when people think about Texas, think about Dallas, when Houston is much bigger, has more money, has more resources, but people don't understand, that
Well,
the Houston is where it's at.
yeah, people will slowly understand it, right? Just looking from an outside, I never really studied Sammy. I don't like to go around asking people, especially before podcasts, but like exclusive furniture, like, okay, well, he knows where people go to buy furniture, but like just to walk next door and see if you save a few bucks, that'll make it better. And so I feel like when I went to school in Dallas, Nobu came into Dallas first, all these big national chains.
They all go to Dallas first.
And what they realize is, yeah, it's a great market in that one little uptown area for that space. But when I signed up with HBO, I said, hey, there's only one way. We're filming in Houston. They're like, oh, whoa, because it's humid and the weather, and we'll have too many makeup people. It's impossible. I said, well, come see it at the right time. So I took them here. I remember it was a fall of 2019 before we announced in October. I had a presentation, another audition, right? It was a presentation and pilot I had to kill. And they're like, it is beautiful here. They're like, the people are so nice here. It's warm here. And, what a great city. We just didn't know. So, a lot of times the book tells you one thing, but the street tells you another. And that's why I always tell people, real, if you want to be a good real estate, anything, you need to see, feel, and touch the real thing.
Yeah, I mean, very well said. I mean, and Houston, I mean, people always, anytime, I mean, this kind of drives me crazy, right? It bothers me.
Yeah.
Houston is humid.
Yeah.
It's only humid for like 3 months.
It's not humid when you walk in my home. If you can
for
pay,
sure.
pay your electric bill
And
through
I
my
tell
company.
and I tell people this. I'm like, Houston is the biggest air conditioned city in the world.
It is.
Okay, and it's a fact.
It's a fact.
It's a fact, right? I'm not just making this. But everywhere is AC. If I get in my office, it's AC.
Right.
If I get in my house, it's AC.
Yes.
If I get in my car, it's AC. If I go to a restaurant, it's AC. Of course, there might be a lot of places in America that doesn't have AC. If you go to up north, there's a lot of places that don't have AC. But in Houston, everything is air conditioned.
I feel like, the guys that founded Houston, it was founded based on one thing, the discovery of oil, right? And that's how the economy was found. So a lot of times, I used to play this trick when I was younger, right? Because my dad would always give me the great foods, the good stuff. And he's like, why do you got to teach that guy about foie gras if he doesn't know foie gras?
Yeah.
It's like, if you say something's human, how no one comes and you're making all the money. But, like, it takes a creative to tell it in a way that the world can communicate now, which is we're open for business, and it's easy to do. And there's a reason why we're called the energy capital of the world. The human energy here inspires and aspires. And my father creating the small business administration program with his bank was the way that he could help educate his community. And he loves this city, and I love it. And the humidity is what makes this town special.
You talk highly about your dad. I mean, you've talked several times in this interview. Tell us, and I know your dad is a big time entrepreneur, and he has a lot going on. Tell us a little bit about your dad, if you don't mind. What is he doing now? I mean, we understand his past. Tell us, what is he doing now?
He's always cool, calm, and collected. Nothing makes him excited. Nothing makes him, he's just one step forward a day. Very loving guy. He loves to party, loves to have a good time. But what he does is he gets his shit done before he parties. And the discipline. He has a lot of discipline. He talks about the 3 Ds of life. 1, decision. So everybody wakes up, they have to make a decision for the day. Number 2 is there will always be something that gets in your way, but you have to have determination. So once you make the decision, though, you've already knocked out like 85% of the equation. So just keep going. And 3 is discipline. Because while you're determined, you have to be focused on your original thesis and stick back to that. And when you do that, and you do that consistently, daily, just with one step forward, you're going to get to where you need to be and where your family hopes to be.
Man, that's awesome. That is a smart guy right there. Decision, determination, and discipline. I mean, yeah, you have to take a decision. You have to stick with it, and then you gotta be disciplined enough to make sure you carry it. So that's perfect. I
Yeah,
love
don't.
it.
He says, don't ever hope that you're right, because as long as you do the 3 Ds, at least you know that you went out swinging the way that. Because if you're not doing the 3 Ds, you don't learn much. Because you start getting a little wiggle. This network tells you this or that network tells you that. No, what did you say in the beginning? It's right there in your head.
And so your dad today. I understand that he
He's
founded the bank. What other businesses do you have?
I would say, we're banking and real estate. That's all we do.
Okay.
So banking was just a way to educate his community, and real estate was a way to secure our family.
Okay.
We've been in real estate since Asia, so we understand real estate. It's easier to see, feel, and touch, and
Tangible.
tangible. I sell electricity for a living. I've been an electricity broker since 2006. And I started off selling it door to door because I lost my sports bar and my construction business in the recession. But if you get up and you look at all the legends in the world and you study them, study the books from America. They tell you right there. If you want to be Abraham Lincoln, read his autobiography. You want to be Thomas Jefferson, it's right there. But you got to do the work.
Yeah.
Got to do. If you don't have blood, sweat, and tears, you don't have no bullets in your pocket.
So you still are in the electricity business?
Yes, I am.
Awesome.
I own my own brokerage now since 2014, and for me, it's a fun business. When you do it right, and of course, I know the parts when you do it wrong.
Well, you live and learn.
But you got to tell yourself, at least I burned 120 calories on that walk.
Yeah.
But as you get older, you know where to go, you know where to shoot your time, and you can only help so many people. A better way is through the new mediums that you have, like this podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so funny how people in Houston, it drives me nuts. They're like, how did you do it? And I'm like, okay, so like if you're young, this is considered cool.
Right.
Me and Sammy, I guess we're considered old these days. But
well, I'm much older than you, but yes.
We have nothing that's more fun than being a young person. So I feel like I'm really just in my parents. When I was younger, I would play with the little like recorders and stuff.
Uh-huh.
My dad had these Polaroids because we had these grocery stores. We got to see the inventory.
Right.
I would just start playing with stuff, and I feel like I'm just talking to like my younger brother in the closet at night. It's just be yourself and use what works today for other people, and just try it. And if you try it, you don't like it, guess what? The great thing about America is you can return it and get your money back.
Yeah.
So my wife would order 1,000 like video cameras and 1,000, and then she'll return in 7 days. We're Asian, so sorry. But like I'll know what equipment works on my face and which pod, and then when you find the right thing. It's amazing because it makes it all worth it. I'll tell y'all a great story. Danny, who cuts my hair, the show comes out, and he's like, my boy Sammy, like, you got to go in his podcast. I was like, dude, I don't even know what I'm doing, dude. And he's like cutting my hair for free, okay? $2.99. Like, I am a starving artist, okay, guys? You don't understand. I am the brokest rich, whatever they think, but rich in culture. But, like, Danny was like, you got to go in Sammy's show. I'm like, who's Sammy? And then my social media guy a long time ago goes, you got to meet the guy Sammy because I wanted to win this electricity account. And let me tell you something, guys. I told you I would close it. I'm closing it today right after this if he wants season 2. But, like, you got to keep going, guys, because if you sell a great product, there's different ways to get to your end game. But if you ask my whole team at Volt Street Energy, I go, that exclusive guy, I'm going to get him. I go, I'm going to get that account from that guy. I go, there's got to be a way. And I said, why does he keep, I said, that guy's elusive. But that's the thing. Guys that make money, guys that are successful, like my father, they're elusive. So Sammy asked me a question. What does your dad do today? Well, he came to meet me so he could learn something, right? I'll tell you what my dad does today. He does the same thing he did for the past 44 years in America. Wake up, put on the outfit that is ready to go take deals, read the paper, and sit there and let the energy manifest itself. But his thing is, if I build a company and I get out in 5 years and I own 10%, 90% can go to the team that started with me, and they'll never resent me. So that's what we do. We see a furniture business like Sammy's, and we're like, hey, why do you have all this square footage that you're wasting? What about doing it this way or that way, this way? So we kind of like, he helps to financially structure in a way where it can improve all the employees' lives while improving the owner's life, so that he can go look for more ventures. So if you own 10% of a furniture business, 10% of a airplane business, a media business, an energy business, healthcare, well, then the economic indicators on the screen don't change your personality. They don't affect your family's life. And at the end of the day, you know, when you make, you have to make sure that everyone's making money too. That's the key. He says, when you make, it's just a transfer of capital, but don't let the other side walk out like losing their family. I mean, that's not what God made us for. He said, take advantage of opportunity, not people. So did you see a lot of things getting spread around the world that are negative? We don't finance those things. What do we finance? We finance people. We invest in people. Like if we believe you're a good person and we know you, we got to really know you, we'll go for it. But if it's not fitting with our lifestyle and our message and our, you know, positive energy, even if it makes money, we've never been that family that was like going to just take it. You know, we've made mistakes along the way. We're not always going to judge people right, but I guarantee you, we always are going to have the hope. And together, you know, as a family, we have to encourage each other that, hey, you know what? That guy could be like Washington 1.0. Like, or, you know,
Washington 2.0,
or
something like
2.0.
that.
Well, tomorrow might be 3, but whatever it gets you going, you got to remember, like, you shouldn't be judging, because when you look in the mirror, you got to make mistakes as a business person. And a true business person, like Sammy, will know that along the way, you're not losing as long as you keep going. The day that you stop knocking on doors and selling electricity or furniture is the day that you lose. You got to keep going, no matter, and it's not even that hard, to be honest, because God gave you 2 legs and a mouth. So the phone call is great, but if you could just see, feel, and touch the guy, grab him, embrace your family, tell them you love him. You know, a lot of people don't realize that you don't have to lose it all to like gain it all. And you know, I grew up all my life, you know, and people, you know, my father's like, you know, in the Asian culture, if you're the oldest son, the dream is that one day someone walks into a restaurant and says, "Oh, that's you know, that's not Ben Ho's son, but that's Washington Ho's father,
Yeah.
but for a good reason." You know?
Yeah.
Because it's all about legacy. It's all about name. It's all about how you do things. And I have, you know, and people know. And I'll probably screw up about another 50 times a day. But they know where my intention and where my heart is that I want everybody to feel the love that I've been given by my family, by the great Lord, and the blessings and the opportunities and this great country we live in. And that's the truth, is that you cannot take advantage of the American dream or opportunity if you're not doing it. So 8 to 5 is just what you do to get food and water, if you look at it that way. What do you do after that? What do you do to prepare for that? As we know, we get older, it says you can sleep 6 hours, right? Leonardo da Vinci, one of my role models and inspirations all my life. I was a minor in philosophy, but I studied him. You know, I was a huge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan. And, you know, the blue Leonardo, he always did sleeping. You only sleep 1.25x in terms of, you know, he's like 2.7 hours, okay. But you sleep 4.5, you get tired. You go to 6. So you have to know who you are. You have to know what the human body's capable of. And then you do the job. But, you know, be realistic. Time with your family is what you're doing everything for. You know, they always say you can't create time, but you can. You can create time. But what is that? You know, that means securing other people's time. Don't waste people's time. Create a quality of life for your team. And, you know, your team's always going to have your back.
Uh-huh. I like that create. You can create time.
Yeah, who said you? They said you can't. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can. As
Yeah,
long as you do it. As long as you do it wisely.
yeah. Like if you're a CEO, right, of a company, it's not about the revenue. It's not about the P&Ls or the balance sheet. It's about a great CEO is one where the balance sheet of life, his team, his all of them from top to bottom have the same quality of life as him. And so the outside doesn't matter if the inside doesn't feel great, and that's what we're about.
Nice.
We're grateful, you know.
Very well said. Um, you have so you said you got married in
Mm-hmm.
2015. Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
So how many kids do you have today?
I have two kids. My son, who I'm so proud of, he was born on President's Day during election year this last term.
Okay.
And for me, all my life, I felt like I always loved the name Roosevelt. I loved what, Teddy, he loved hunting in Africa and the leadership he was, and Franklin, who, helped to lead us out of the recession in 1929. And he was a family guy. I don't know how God blessed me with the next hoe to be Roosevelt.
So you named your kid Roosevelt. So
Yes.
the older one is a boy.
He's a boy, and he's
And the
5 years
younger one?
old. And my younger daughter, her name's Lincoln, so she's 3. I wanted to name her after a leader that would set the stage for, the companies I would look at or the business plans. I'd always see, this. I would see that females do really quality work, but I didn't understand why they got paid less.
Yeah.
So I was like, she could be a leader in gender equality, and to me, it's all about the universal energy and the equanimity that we bring to each other. And I thought that my daughter had the gift. When I looked at her eyes, I was like, she could do that. And so,
Washington, you're still a young guy, fairly young guy, and I mean, you've done a lot. I mean, getting on HBO is not a small accomplishment; it's big, and I mean, you got your power, energy brokerage and everything else. Tell me, if you say, hey, you know what, I've done a lot, and you say you've made a lot of mistakes. If there was one mistake that you wish you would have made, or something you can say, you know what, I wish I would have done that. I wish I can go back in time and correct it. What would it be?
I would say it's myself telling myself, what could I have done better, and focusing too much on the word mistake
Uh-huh.
instead of take the miss and make a profit out of it. But, I would say that the term in America is mistake. The term for me is just be grateful along the journey.
Okay. What is next for Washington Ho? I mean, besides I know the short term is, hey, get the season number 2, but long term.
Long term, Hollywood sounds good. Austin as a movie capital. I think it's more inclusive. I think it's my hometown, and Matthew McConaughey is one of my greatest inspirations in Hollywood. He's from Texas, and if you're like dating a girl, how to lose a girl or the guy in 10 days.
Yeah,
Oh shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
How to lose a guy in 10 days, right?
And that's why they call me Matthew McConaughey. But like, I think, Warner Brothers, who backed our movie, I studied their history, and I saw how the Warner Brothers built studio lots. And I think in Austin, we have so much great property and land in the mountains and the lakes. And so I'm working on that.
So your long term goal is to have a movie studio
Yes.
or something like that. But that's an awesome goal. So, I want to be respectful of your time. We can talk over here for
Oh, yeah.
hours. I loved what your dad said about the 3Ds, right?
Yeah.
The decision, the determination, the discipline. But let's just say today is the end of the world, and end of your life. You ended up living 110 years, and they come to you and they say, "Hey, Ho, now is the time for you to go." Okay, and so they say, "Hey, Ho, you know what? Today is the end of the life. You lived a long time, 110 years, 112 years. All these books you wrote, all these podcasts you did, all these movies you made, everything gotta go. You have a pen and a paper, write 3 things that you can think about. 3 things that you want people to live by, 3 things you're grateful with, 3 truces. What will those be?"
Buy low, sell high.
Buy low, sell high.
Buy high, sell higher.
Okay.
And take your money and run, because there's no money like home money. And that means it's no money.
So explain that one more time, Washington. You said buy low, sell high. Buy high, sell higher, and take your money and run. Some people might not understand that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And
I
why
would
do you say that?
Because number one is that buying means buying time, buying money, buying anything. Is that if there's no upside from day one, you don't go.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is that when you hang around or you spend your time with quality people, you got to buy high and sell higher. Sell yourself. Number three, take your money and run. That means when you've closed the deal, whether it's marriage or whatever it is, be happy and be grateful and start over. You know, always value your own time just as much as the person you're across does as well. And if that doesn't equal or that doesn't benefit, then move to the next person.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Washington. It's a good thing to end the note at. Thank you so much for coming, man. This was great. I hope you come back and join me. I hope you come back and see me again.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully we get that announcement soon on season 2, season 3, season 4, season 5, everything.
Well, I had a great time, Sam. You guys got to check out Sam Zavry over here at Exclusive Furniture, where he makes shit happen.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you.